You're now kicking it with Brother Smalls, and we're here with Vee Mindful. How you doing, sis?
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
No, it's wonderful for you to be here. I'm so happy and excited. You're a personal coach.
I am. I am. So I started off as a business coach. And so now I've kind of moved into relationship coaching in the last couple of years. But business as in getting our young folks into, how to behave and act in corporate America, climbing that ladder because I still am also in corporate America.
Got it. Now, you're a personal coach,
Mhm.
and you just published a book. Tell us about that.
Well, in so when I started relationship coaching, I was in a space that I was in, right? That I had recently come out of, which was a divorce. I was married 12 years and then I went through, a divorce, and it wasn't that pain. I'm not even gonna lie, it wasn't that painful for me because I had a strong mindset. And because I then started working with people, particularly women going through a divorce, and I was seeing that women, for the most part, a lot of times we get stuck in that like it's devastating. I can't heal from this. I don't know how to move on. And so I said, you know what, I'm just going to put a book together to encourage somebody to say, and it's highly giftable. I think it makes a great gift, anybody going through a divorce or a relationship breakup. But it's a tool to say, hey, you can get through this, and here's some tools and how to do so. Based on my experience, I share my story in the book, which is unique. But I went ahead and shared my perspective, but it really is just shifting your mindset and not stay in that woe is me mind, that, oh, I can't. And it's like, wait, we're not going to do that. We're going to snap
Right.
out of it. And so I put it
Right.
all in.
Where do people get the book?
It's on Amazon only. I published it through KDP. And so right now it's just on Amazon. I'm in a process. Now that one is like an introduction to V, right? But I am in the process of writing another book, an actual book for, now I'm going into the relationship side, not the healing, but healing, we all have to heal. In order to move on to, I want to attract a nice relationship. I mean, you have to be healed. And so I do focus on healing, but my next book is now, okay, now we healed, now what? Like, we're ready to move forward. So that's the book I'm working on now.
Oh, that's good. All right, you're now kicking it with Brother Smalls, and we're here with personal coach Vee Mindful. Remember to share, like, comment, and subscribe. Coach V, I was drawn to you because of your honesty. Quite honestly, out in like on YouTube and all these other platforms, sometimes you find where people are kind of preaching their problems or preaching their failures, and I didn't really see that with you. You were really honest about things that you could have done better, and that was refreshing to me.
No, absolutely. One thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I do believe in communicating real world advice. Things that I've gone through, or my girlfriends, or even my clients have gone through, or my sons, because I take some of the things that they've gone through,
Hmm.
and I create reels based off of their experiences as well. But yeah, I believe in being honest. Like, I've come across like a whole lot of pages that I've seen. Sometimes I agree with the advice, and sometimes I'll be like, that's
Exactly.
it's not gonna work,
Yeah.
but I'm not here to like,
Yeah.
tell people what to do. Because one thing I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna give you step-by-step directions on do this, do that, but I encourage everybody to look within. Please stop asking for things that you're not bringing. Please stop, projecting your internal thoughts onto somebody else. Like, we all have to work internally, right? And
Yeah.
so the advice that I give is really, hey, there's some self-reflection. I don't come at it just at, hey, women, we got to do this. No, and I don't say, men, y'all are the bad,
Yeah. Yeah.
y'all the,
Yeah.
I don't do that
Yeah.
because I'm very aware there are some men out there, are some really good men out here that are looking for a good woman. And
Mhm.
then sometimes we women mess it up. And then vice versa. There are some, good women looking for good men, but sometimes the men mess it up. I'm extremely realistic. It happens.
It definitely happens. I just saw a post that you posted today about a young lady who was saying, I want this man to be, six figures and this, that, and the third. and she was living in a situation that she was talking to a young man that was living in the same complex, right, that she was living in, and that wasn't good enough for her.
I know. And it's like, what in the world? You know, I I can never understand. I've seen people, women, and I will say it's more, well, no, it's both. It's both, because there are men that, they have not seen the tips of their toes, since high school PE, because their, belly may protrude really large, but they want Halle Berry on their arm. And it's like, dude, when the last time you've been up in the gym? You
Oh
know,
my.
women to say, oh, he got to be, 6'9", and I'm like, why? What is this height stuff? What is it going to do for you? You're missing out on a whole lot of potential good men because they're not 6'5", and that's something he can't help. I mean, unless he get his knees extended. But why? Why? That he can't help his height. So
Sure.
take that out of the factor, and just start looking at, well, what do these people bring to the table? What do I bring? What do I bring? And it's
What?
not about I have college degrees, because I have them. It's I have this house, I have houses as well. It's not about that. It's about, well, what values do you bring? Who are you? What do you care about? Those are the things that we need to focus on. But I see men and women focusing on the wrong thing. And it's like, well, you're going to continue to get what you've got because you're focusing on the wrong thing.
I totally agree. I think you have to lead with character. Character has to be the primary, because wealth is built over time, right? And as you know, most millionaires are 50, 60 plus, right? And so wealth is built over time. And so when you think about, okay, this person needs to have six figures, what have you, at 21 years old, that's not realistic, And so who can you build with, right? And I think that should be the question. Does this person have the characteristics, the values and virtues that I can build with?
No, absolutely. If only more people would think like that. I mean, you'd see a whole lot less heartbreak, a whole lot less drama in relationships. A lot of times we're looking at the wrong thing, and that's
Mhm.
another thing that propelled me into getting into coaching, because it all started with me working on myself.
Mhm.
Like I had so much work to do on myself from my marriage, and because I just was like, okay, what happened in my marriage? I honestly didn't know, and then I kind of tried to date for a while. I was single 8 years. 8 years is a long time to do some self-reflection. Okay. It's a long time. So I've been on, probably in that 8 years, not all within 1 year, but within the 8 years, I had gone on probably close to 200 dates. And a lot of those were first dates. Sometimes they were second dates. But it wasn't like I couldn't get a second or third date. I just didn't like anybody. And I was like, what's going on with me? Why don't I like anybody? I mean, do I like women now? Like, maybe I do love Dawn Staley, and they didn't slide up in her DMs. I was like, maybe I need to be with a woman now.
Oh,
But I just didn't know what it was, until I started working on myself to really figure out, why don't I like anybody? Why can't I, see myself in a relationship? What's going on with me? And that's why, with coaching, that's why I said you got to look inward, because a lot of the things we see externally, you may meet the perfect man. And I'm sure in the 8 years, I'm pretty sure I went on some dates with some perfect men. Okay. But because I wasn't ready internally, I wasn't able to recognize that this is a good man. That's a good man. I had a lot of unhealed stuff within myself. So that's
well,
why, oh, go ahead.
no, no, no. I mean, I think that's true, because when you say perfect, we're talking about somebody who's perfect for you, right?
Mhm, yep.
Because everyone's different, but you have to do that work, as you're talking about, that inward work, that work on who am I, what do I want, where am I going, to
Mhm.
actually detect who that perfect person is for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's good. What now? I'm interested to find out. I mean, again, you've done coaching, professional coaching, personal coaching. What do you see as the three major issues as it relates to relationships and greater connection?
Well, I can tell you the biggest thing that I see that prevents people from going from first date, second date to, okay, now you my boo and I'm your boo, right? One, people don't know how to communicate. That is a big thing. It's actually the reason why most relationships fail is because people do not know how to communicate. We're talking different things, right? We don't know how to listen. Instead of listening, a lot of people become defensive and feel like they're being attacked when given feedback. And there's a lot of probably some arguments, tempers raising instead of being able to communicate. You see it a lot, and unfortunately, I've experienced that in my relationships as well. Inability to communicate, so that's a huge one. Another one is people are scared to be vulnerable. People are scared to be hurt. And so therefore we don't open up. We just continue to stay on those itinerary type conversations. What did you do today? Oh, I went to the grocery store, then I
The
went to church.
surface.
Yeah. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
what did you do? And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm you can only have with so many of those conversations where you be like, man,
Yeah.
this. I'd rather just talk to my dog, because I'm getting the same results, nothing.
Right.
Um, so that's another thing. And the third thing, which might be controversial, but the shifting of roles. I
Mm.
see that. And it's happening. And I hate to admit that it is the shifting of roles, meaning
Yeah.
we
When you
have.
say shifting, yeah, yeah, elaborate on that, please.
Okay, absolutely. We have a lot more women living in the masculine energy, right? And I'm definitely one. I don't, I have worked on myself, but because we're put in roles to have to lead, we're
Mhm.
constantly like I lead my household.
Mhm.
As a single mom to, I am dating, but I am not remarried. So leading my household, leading at work, I lead a team of technology professionals. So
Mhm.
I'm constantly in this do mode.
Mhm.
I'm doing, and not really always honoring my femininity. And it's not being feminine has nothing to do with I wear pink and I put on makeup. That's not feminine energy whatsoever. It
Mhm.
was me not really knowing that I was bringing. I'm not going to say it because I think this is a good Christian show, probably. So I'm gonna just
Nah, no, no. I want to talk to you. No, come on, talk. Let's
I
talk.
know I'm gonna just say I was bringing too much masculine energy
Okay.
to those men, and that's why I probably didn't like anybody. But then we see the men constantly, tell me how you feel, tell me
Yeah.
this, tell me, and then we put more men in a feminine role, and then now you have women telling men what to do a lot, and then it's like, well, if you don't give that man an opportunity to lead, you'll never know if he can lead. Right. And so we have the fearful woman who is running things, running her household, running jobs, running this, and she's constantly in this do mode. And then when she comes across a masculine man, she doesn't know what to do, how to behave. And then we have a lot of men because women, it's a cycle. It's a lot of men who've been raised in single households by women, my sons included,
Uh,
right? Without that masculine, and I'm not blaming single parenthood because Lord knows I am a single parent. I'm not saying that at all. Let me be very clear.
oh my
Put
goodness.
my foot into raising these three boys, but I
Sure.
still can't teach them how to be men,
Sure.
right? And it's a cycle without the masculine entity teaching a young boy how to be a man, and then that girl maybe not being raised in a home with the father, her not recognizing love, him not knowing how to give love. You got these two lost souls finding each other, the blind leading the blind, and then now the roles are shifting.
No, you're right. The great late Miles Monroe said, if you don't know the purpose of a thing, misuse or abuse is inevitable. So when you don't understand the purpose and power of a woman, the purpose and power of a man, the purpose and power of relationships and marriage, abuse or misuse is inevitable. You just don't know what you're doing. And like you said, I think it's a great point. There's knowledge, there's understanding, and there's wisdom, right? Like the knowledge of accumulating not like information, like let me learn about what this is all about. And and then also your understanding, like assimilating that knowledge and then applying that knowledge as wisdom. But
Absolutely.
what I'm saying is, when you don't understand marriage, you don't understand the power of a man, the power of a woman, right? So that a woman, right, are receivers. And so I give a woman a word, she gives me a sentence. I give her a sentence, she gives me a paragraph. I give her a paragraph, she gives me a book. Women are, they reproduce, right?
Mhm.
And so women will also reproduce what they're given. And so if they're given negativity,
Mhm.
if they're given angst, if they're given struggle, if they're given they'll reproduce that to you. And so I think what happens is that the environment has to be such that the you create an environment in which we can flourish, that woman can flourish, that man can flourish. Again, we're on today in large part. My wife has everything set up here. She has the lights here, she has the camera going, she has this. And so there are so many things that she helps me with, right?
Mhm.
Because that's what she does. And I do the same. I support her and that sort of thing. But again, if you don't understand, the purpose, right, and the roles, right,
Mhm.
I think you run into problems.
I love how you put it that way, and absolutely, we're seeing it in a lot of relationships, and and I will say that that was a big thing in my marriage.
Mhm.
I noticed that I was having more of the masculine energy, and not that
Mhm.
my ex-husband isn't masculine, but once a woman feels like, okay, wait, he's not making good decisions, he about to lead us to hell, in a woman in a leadership role, I promise you, she's going to take over and she's going to be like, wait a minute, I cannot allow you to lead us there. I'm going to have to, dun, da, 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 and I'm going to have to save us.
Right. And the fact is that the definition of masculinity is all twisted, right? Because you get that definition from the world. So for instance, if the definition is with how many ladies I can sleep with, that's ridiculous. My
Yep.
my my claim to fame is that I take pride in being a one woman man. That's I take pride in that. You know what I'm saying? And so there's a virtue there. And so, but if the definition of a masculine man is someone could just knock him down, that's ridiculous. But again, that's what's out there. And so in the same way, if if the definition and the image of being a female or a boss, whatever,
Mhm.
is this, then that's really twisted. And so you get this friction.
Oh, yeah.
You get this friction. Wow. 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 How do we get here? We're here now.
Well,
How do we get here, Coach V?
as far as, let's say, if we just focus on the masculine and feminine thing, right? How did we get here?
Yeah.
Like, I really believe the dynamics of the household has changed. Now,
Okay.
but see, here's the thing. I understand there's single parent households. I get it because I just said I got one. So I get it, However, I was not raised in one, right? My parents are still married 50 years. I'm a daddy's little girl, even though I'm knocking at 50. I talk to my daddy every day,
That's right.
and
Love it.
and people ask me, well, what is it that your dad does that makes him such a good father to you? And and there are things that my dad is excellent at. He listens. He listens. My daddy listens to me. But
Mm.
how did we get here? I didn't, like I tell people, I don't have any daddy issues. Okay. So you can run that game on somebody else. Okay. Because it ain't gonna work up over here.
Mm.
My daddy raised a very strong, and my mother too, even though she is like more of a submissive type woman. She's born and raised in Taiwan. So yes, we get that the like the roles that I saw growing up in my
Mhm.
parents' household. It works for them and it works, right? They
Yeah.
have My mom has a traditional woman role. My daddy has a traditional man role. He's a provider, she's a nurturer. That's all I've ever seen. Go ahead.
Do you think like again, if the woman is the making the lion's share money, does that shift, how she thinks about it? Like, so for instance, if I make 100,000 and she makes 200,000, right? Uh, you know, do you think that the mentality switch now? Hey, I'm making more money now, and so it's really what I want to do here. Do you think it's because of the money that people are making?
I don't think it's necessarily the money. I think it's not that. It's we women have learned that financially we can survive on our own. It's not, I don't think it's okay, well, I make more than him, and I don't think so. I think a lot of women, and I got a lot of girlfriends, and I got a lot of professional girlfriends that's making bank, okay.
Yeah.
um
Okay.
it's not the money necessarily, it's more so, uh is he providing, can he provide for this household? It's
Oh, oh,
not. Go
okay.
ahead.
So if she makes more money, right?
Mhm.
But he is spiritually in tune. He's a focused person.
Mhm.
He understands how to, treat you, what have you. Um, but he works for the post office, right? Or whatever it is. Um, I'm still thinking about the character, right? Because if we're just thinking about just okay, how much money you're making, right? There's a when you get married, they say for richer or for poorer, for that, health, that whole
Mhm.
saying that they say, right? When they say when you get married, right? But
Mhm.
so if I kind of see like if things change, if it's just because of the bank, right? You can be up today and then down tomorrow. What happens then, right? What happens to our relationship then if it was only because of the income or what I can provide? I, I'm thinking more and more that we really need to kind of be getting back to character. We really got to be.
Mhm.
I can tell you my calculus. My calculus, I told you I was a widower and I got married again. And so uh, my calculus was, can she teach my children?
Mhm.
Can I trust her with my kids?
Mhm.
Right? This is early on. Can I teach? Can I trust her with my kids? If I
Absolutely.
go out, what is she going to be teaching my kids, right?
Mhm.
So that was just really really important to me. Some other things that were very important to me were like you got to, I wanted someone who could do more than boil an egg, you know what I'm saying?
We got some people can't boil an egg, so.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I wanted you to, be able to boil an egg or what have you, but it was really, character, like who are you?
It definitely, it shouldn't be about money. That, and that's why I said, like, it shouldn't. It's about, for women. I'm gonna just speak from our, from my perspective. How about my
Okay.
perspective?
Let's
Because I
solve
know
some problems. Come on, V.
I
Let's
know
solve some
there's some women
problems.
like, oh, he got to make six figures ain't gonna carry you much in the DC area. I could tell you that right now. And it ain't, they could make 400,000, but have 500,000 in bills. So money isn't everything. How much somebody brings home doesn't mean a darn thing. But for me, yes, it is character. It's the man needs to be a provider though, and I don't mean, that doesn't mean pay the whole mortgage and provide all of my needs, but you need to cover your family. They need to know that you're a protector, that you're there for them. Now, if he just goes to work, and let's say, like you said, the post office, he has an honest living, he loves his family, he comes home every night, he takes care of his family, then that to me is a man. That's a man, and that's what most women would love. It's not about he makes 45,000 and girl, I make 200. It's not about that. Most women, especially high powered women, and I'll just say myself because I am a high income earner, just like my girlfriends are, and I will say we're not looking at their pay stub, because we know at when you get to a certain level, it ain't but so many people is going to make that amount. I have a girlfriend who's hey girl, she's the head of HR for NASA, right? She's making money. She's single. She's making money. Okay. And it's not, so we're not looking at like match our income, but can you match our effort? Can you serve in that that masculine manly role? Are you a protector? Are you a provider? Do you have my back? Because if once you make a woman feel safe, I promise you, it ain't about the dollars. It ain't about your height. It's not about your penis size. It's not about any of that. If you can make us feel safe to where our feelings are protected, we're covered, because we know we got that strong man at home that's there for us, the strong man, masculine man that I grew up to, as my father. And I saw what he did. I saw what my grandfathers did. All my uncles and aunts stayed married until they all passed. We didn't have any single parenthood until I come along with my sister and I. We come along, right? But everybody in the family. So I saw dynamics of healthy marriages all my life, so I can see what they're supposed to look like. But everybody marriages is different. But in my mind, with the role shifting, we're getting away from that man is being the provider and a protector, and that woman being able to fall back a little bit.
Being able to fall back a little bit, right? And so yeah, and for me it's like, if she made a boatload of money, and she brought it home, she's bringing it home. You know what I mean? I wouldn't really have an issue with that at all, especially if she's helping to build what we're trying to build here as a family unit, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how do women and how do men detect those people? Because clearly there are people out there that have these attributes. How do they detect those folks?
You got to be first, you got to be open-minded. We got to get away from what we think are our preferences and making them our standards. They're not your standards, they're your preferences. Oh, she has to have, and I get it. Oh, she has to have long curly hair. I get that, and I know men have been attracted to me just because of my hair, and this is like, that's what you like about me? Oh, you better kick rocks. Like, I'm much more than the daggone hair that's on top of my head.
Right.
But in order to know people, you got to say, you know what, I'm gonna be open-minded. I'm gonna get to know this guy who's 5'7" and okay, he's not 6'7", but those are preferences. Stop with the preferences. Just stop it. What are your standards? Your standards are things that life has brought to you. Like, okay, my standard, things that I do every day. I work out every single day. I go to the gym every day, mainly because I pay a whole lot of money to go to the gym. So you best believe I go to the gym every day. If nothing else, to use their hot water and towels, because my gym membership is up there. I pay $150 a month for me by myself. So you best believe I'm in there every day. Um, but so my standards are, because I work out every day and I, make sure that I put, healthy foods in my mouth and I'm constantly feeding my mind. These have become my standards because I live like that. Right. And so I would want someone to also care about what they put in their mouths and, exercise, and please be able to find the gym because I'm there. Right. And I want you there too, or let's do some type of physical activity. Those are my standards, but I've created those. Preferences are like, ooh, he got to have a six pack, knowing I ain't never been to the gym, knowing I don't work out. Those are preferences. You have not created those standards because
Yeah.
those are not your standards. They are not the life that you live. These are your preferences, things that you like, a wish list, like when we write down a Christmas list and we
Right.
put the star, moon, and the purple clovers on there. That's what a preference is. Okay. But if we could just take those out of the equation, just say, you know what, I'm be open minded. Be open minded. When God sends my way, He sends my way. I want to get to know people. How are you ever going to get to know them if you don't ever get past the BS?
Well, you're right there. And also, I heard you talk about, for people that are actually in a relationship, you talk about a phenomenon called the grass is greener. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, the grass is always going to be greener, and we already know it's green because I was out there this morning watering my grass, and I was looking at my neighbor's grass, and his grass is green. And my lawn lady told me, she said, "Well, if you watered your grass be green too." And so, and she came over here the other day just to water my grass. I said, "Girl, I watered it already," and she said, "Well, it looked dry." I said, "Darn it, I gotta get back out there." But it is true. what you nurture, what you put energy into, what you take care of, that is where the like you said, it's a reproduction. You said reproduction of energy. If I'm given love, I'm going to get, trust and believe, I'm going to give you the love.
Yeah.
But sometimes people look at, well, damn, at home I pay bills with her, there's a car note. Dang, I gotta come on talk about this job. Oh, we ain't got no money for the electric bill. These kids getting on my nerves. Who gonna take little Johnny to basketball, softball, football practice? I gotta do all this stuff. Take it. Now the tax bill is due. You have all those responsibilities at home. Okay, we all got them. Now you come across Miss Fine Thing, little waist, big boobs, and a fat AWS, right? You come across her, and yes, she looks good. You ain't got no responsibilities with that chick. And so, of course, it's fun. Everything's fun. Everything's great. Everything's new because everything is new with her. You don't know her. So we see it. We see it all the time. People cheat because men more so cheat like that. Women, it's a little different for us. It's a little different in that as, and I can go into that if you want. But men, it's like, okay, well, she ain't stressing me out. Well, what's
Mm.
she gonna stress you out about?
Yeah.
Y'all pay a bill together. Y'all raise them kids together. Y'all talking about your jobs together. You go over there, you get to talk about your hopes, dreams, and nothing in reality. Whereas at home, it's some real stuff. It's some real ish at home. These kids cost money. These kids get on your nerves. I know my kids have plucked my nerves. So I know daggone well your kids have plucked your nerves. People look at that and be like, I want to escape from it. And so that whole grass is green over there. Well, hey, ish over there.
Also, I'll probably add to that, it's your circle too, right? In the sense that, sometimes you need people and an environment that you can get checked, right? Everyone, I think, needs to be able to get checked, right? I've been checked throughout my life. There are times when my older brothers would check me, that would just benefit. They didn't even have to lay hands on me. It was just like, would say something, and it just kind of, just made
Mhm.
me think straight, and so when you kind of if you're married or you're in a committed relationship, I think it's important to kind of be around people that have that same type of viewpoint, in a sense, because some of the things that they're going to be doing line up with where you're going,
Mhm.
and what you want to do. Does that make sense?
Heck yeah, it's what we teach our children. You're gonna be
Yeah.
judged by the company you keep. You better watch who your friends are, who you have around you.
Right.
Absolutely,
Right.
yeah. If the people around you don't want the best for you, then they shouldn't be around you.
No, I mean, again, I can say as a married man, there are things where sometimes you kind of keep things in, but when you can talk to somebody about a situation and they're able to kind of listen to you, but also give you direction that makes sense. When you talk about all the various different things that people deal with in a committed relationship,
Mhm.
you need people in your life that are going to be able to hear you, but also going to be able to kind of provide you some wise counsel and not just kind of just yes you to death and say, oh, you should do X, Y, and Z, especially if that's not what you want, and that's not how you want to live.
Absolutely, accountability partner. Like I have two good girlfriends in my life, and we've been friends for many years, 30 years, and one is over 30 years. She was my sister's best friend for 25 years until my sister passed. And so at this point, I mean, she's family. That's family. And the one thing that I absolutely love about my circle is they are honest. They hold me accountable and they will tell me when I'm wrong. And trust and believe, if you tell me I'm wrong, I'm not, oh no, girl, I'm not like that. I take feedback. I may have to
Yeah.
calm down, a
Yeah.
little bit to think rationally if I'm
Yeah.
really upset. But yeah, everybody needs people in their circle that really cares about them.
No, it's so true. You're now kicking it with Brother Smalls, and I'm here with Vee Mindful, personal coach. V, before we go any further, we got to do this again, right?
Okay. Absolutely.
I mean, because you're touching on so many different topics, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I could talk to you all day long.
Thank
But
you.
I definitely want to just hit a couple more questions, and we got to circle back. Again, remember to subscribe to Kicking It with Brother Smalls, where we inform, uplift, elevate, and inspire. I'm here with Coach Vee Mindful. Hey, Coach, you talk a lot about the power of choice,
Mhm.
the power of choice, and how important that is as it relates to dealing with life issues. Can you elaborate on that?
So I'm assuming like when it comes to relationships, right? When I say
Definitely. I mean,
things,
I heard one of your posts where I read one of your posts where it's like you can choose to have
yeah,
a good day. Like, why are you allowing, circumstances necessarily to kind of color, your perception on life or your next level? And you kind of talked about, again, you can choose. And can that's what I'm referring to.
oh, okay. No, absolutely. I'm big on that. And these were things that I had to learn in my own growth. Like I had a life coach for over a couple of years, and I absolutely love. Well, I still have a life coach. And one of the things is we talked about was you get to choose who you want to be and how you show up. You choose your mood. You can choose not to react or respond to certain things. And these are things that I've had to learn. Like being is a younger my younger day, being a firecracker, right, immediately responding when I was much younger. But now I could tell you no, no, no. And you know what, that taught me, I learned that in my marriage, because anytime we would have, you get into argument and then you like, oh, I'm going, no, we're going to talk about this now. It never went well for me when I did it like now. It was a disaster. So one thing I learned was like, well, I could choose to have this conversation later so that it can be much more productive. And I found that it was much more productive. But now it has created in me, I could hold on to things, but I can still be normal. But I will have the conversation when the time is right. And that may be a week, that may be 2 weeks, or that at that one time it was 3 years, when I got into court and I had to pull out my evidence. But I I now have learned, okay, I'm gonna choose my demeanor. I can choose how to respond, I can choose how to react. And a lot of the things, like I'm a Christian, but I'm also huge into manifesting. I'm huge into the power of your thoughts.
Mhm,
I'm definitely huge into that. Like I've
mhm,
seen so many good things. Like if you just change your thoughts and your
mhm,
perspective and you
mhm,
learn how to speak things. I mean, even the
mhm.
Bible says there's power in the tongue, right?
Oh,
You
sure.
speak things into existence, like mind your words. And
Right.
so yeah, so if I say I'm gonna have a good day today, darn it, I'm gonna have a good day because I done said it and I done claimed it, and it's going to be, because I can choose if I want to react to so and so getting on my nerves, I can choose not to react.
No, it's a pause for peace, right? I've learned that in marriage, that sometimes you pause for peace, and if you kind of start it, when everything is hot and everything, again, it usually doesn't turn out well. You really have to pause for peace and kind of come back, circle back, and try to address an issue another day, another time. And I believe, you're right. The Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? Or she, right? And so your thought life is so important. The Bible also says that, again, the power of life and death, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those that love it will eat its fruits. And so what you say has, very is really, really important. That's the importance of our images, the importance of our words, and that sort of thing. If you, I mean, again, if you kind of, when you say certain things, automatically scripture comes up, and I'm like, I can kind of address that and speak to it. But it's so true that your there's another scripture that talks about peace. He will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on him.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind is stayed on God. Your mind is stayed on his purpose and love for you, that you're able to wake up this morning. When you focus your attention there, it keeps
Mm-hmm.
you in perfect peace, right? And
Absolutely.
so so these things are so vitally important for relationships and just for overall, health and stability. um, I got wow. This has been great. Do you have any questions for me?
I do. Okay. So, being that I am in the relationship space
Yeah.
and you are happily married, what kind of advice would you give a woman,
Mhm.
searching for a man? What kind of advice would you give her? How should she go about attracting a man or even reeling a man in from your perspective?
Reeling a man in. Well, again, I think that it all starts, here on the inside of that
Hmm.
person with that desire to be a wife. So that desire, first and foremost, is a
Okay.
God desire. So the desire to be a husband is a God desire. The desire to be a wife is a God desire. So now, oftentimes, what we do is when God gives us something or we get a inkling, we kind of just go off and and forget about God. If you have a wife desire,
Hmm.
then go back to God and say, Lord, help me to become, a wife. Help
Hmm.
me, teach me about myself, right? So
Hmm.
that I can, so, and now the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit will actually start to kind of correct you and check you on what you need to do. You know what, you may need to pray more. You might need to, like you said, maybe go to the gym more. You might need to straighten up more. You might need to learn more. You
Hmm.
might need to soften, an answer. But these are all so first, I think it's, the understanding that that desire that you have is
Hmm.
an amazing, beautiful desire. It's a God desire, but then go back to God with it. He says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will
Hmm.
direct your path. And so that's first. And then I think it's important to kind of understand your purpose, right?
Hmm.
Understanding your purpose is like key because you're here
Hmm.
for a reason, right?
Hmm.
Purpose is everything. So when you understand your purpose as a woman, you could understand now, can I co-sign to what this man is doing, right?
Hmm.
So for
Yeah.
instance, how can two walk together unless they agree? They have to agree. It has to be an agreement. So if I'm going east and the other person's going west, it's just not going to work because we're not there.
Yep.
But when you understand your purpose, who you are, and what God has called you to be, then
Hmm.
you can more readily detect, hey, this is the person, this
Yep.
is the type of person, I
Hmm.
want to do. And then thirdly, I would just say is, don't um, don't make sure that you surround yourself with a positive network and your family, right? Sometimes when we get in relationships, right, we're like off on an island,
Hmm.
and now we don't, like, I tell my young men, hey, don't call me and say I got married. Don't do that.
Hmm.
You better come to me and we better have a conversation,
Okay.
because we're gonna talk about who this person is and what she brings to the table, right? You
Hmm.
don't you don't want to hear that call like, hey mom, I got no. Because what? You know your sons, and you
Hmm.
know their passions, you know their purpose, you know a lot about them. So you're gonna know, like, I don't know about this. Maybe I got to pray some more. You know what I mean? So one, I would say again that it's a godly desire. So acknowledge God, in it. I would say also that, you include, people who really have your best,
Yep.
interests at
Hmm.
heart, and then, also understanding your purpose as a person.
No, I definitely agree, especially for a man to know his purpose before he takes on a wife, for sure, because then you got the blind leading the blind. And ain't nobody, all you doing is going in some up and down circles, it's not going to go anywhere. So I definitely, oh, yeah. And I would hope that my sons would absolutely, because
Right.
I've been in a situation where my oldest son, he had a girlfriend and I couldn't stand her, but I just kept my mouth shut, and waited for them to break up. Until then, I just had to tolerate. We just had to tolerate her, but none of us in the family liked her. And I knew that she was not the woman for my son. I knew that, but as a mother, like my parents never, don't do this. My parents never did that. We all
Yeah.
have to make our own choices. That's the only way you're going to learn.
Yeah, I mean, and quite honestly, I've been prayed out of some situations. I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm not gonna kind of sit up here and say, "Hey, I got it all together." Straight up, I know a lot of people have prayed me out of some
Mhm.
situations,
I like
and
when
I'm
that.
so glad that they did.
Mhm.
And that's another reason why you want to kind of stay close to your network, because they could pray you out of some situations. So,
You're right. You're right
yeah.
about that.
No,
Hmm.
this has been great. Hey, V, how can people stay in touch with you? How can people stay in touch with you?
Well, on Instagram, it's Vee Mindful Coach. I do have a Facebook page and I have a website, veemindful.com. I have been working very, very hard. I'm releasing a course. I'm finally releasing a course. And, even though I have a podcast, I kind of got away from it and I am going back to it, but I've been working hard at creating a course for women like me, women who have struggled trying to date a we're high powered women, independent, self proclaimed independent women who got all this type of masculine energy and are trying to find, a masculine man, but they don't know what they're doing wrong. And I had to learn. Like I said, it was 8 years of learning. It was 2.5 years so far of life coaching that I've received. So and then I also got certified to be a relationship coach, right? And so I'm creating a course that goes
Mhm.
through all of that, that'll help people like me, women who've struggled, to find a good relationship, a healthy relationship. But yes, find me on those Instagram, and Facebook platforms. I do have a TikTok, but I'm not that active on it. But hopefully, I should be releasing my course, and the whole program, sometime in June. And then with that program comes my second book, which aligns with the course.
Wow, you guys heard it here. Vee Mindful Personal Coach. You guys check her out on all of her social platforms. We'll definitely put it up. You guys get her book, right? And be looking out for that upcoming course. I'm looking forward to speaking to you again and kind of just kind of continuing the discourse to help people have healthy and vibrant relationships. This has been a blast. Thank you so much, Coach V.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
No, you got it. All right, everybody out there, smile and remember, every heartbeat is grace. Cherish life and spread love, y'all. Peace.